3. And greetings and salvations. I am Moonloft Neverborn, the abyss that slumbers, and you are listening to Eldritch Rants, the show that dares to ask the question, did you vote both early and often? The answer to this question and many more will be answered by our two experts in this case, which is Vash, which appears to be some sort of scaly hexapod, and of course I'm sorry?
I'm a Darkin.
Oh, okay. You don't have 6 limbs? I apologize. And, of course, the omnipresent Freddie von Bumstink. How's it going, guys?
Pretty good.
Hey. Well, anything you guys wanted to tackle before we get started? It's, last week before the election here in America. So, hey, get out there and vote whatever you're going to vote for. Because, it actually counts.
Just trying to figure out how I'm sending my vote.
Well, I voted for Puking Dog.
The Democrats would love you to send.
Puking Dog didn't count last time I voted.
We're going to get into the Democrats and their voting methodology in a bit. Other than that, is there anything you guys want to tackle as issues?
No, not really.
Alrighty, well then, let's start with a little seriousness with the eventual collapse of California. Boise and Reno capitalized on the California real estate exodus. In case you haven't figured it out, here's what happened. A bunch of liberals took over California. They started spending other people's money. They drove the place into the ground. They allowed a lot of immigrants to come in who would live like 10 to a house, sharing the rent so that normal people couldn't afford it. Drove up the rent prices, drive up the prices of all the homes. And now all these liberals who created this hellhole have decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to live to a red state because the prices are much better over there. Any thoughts other than this is obvious?
There's always going to be a fluctuation of people moving from one place to another. I mean, that's been one of the things that we've always had, which a lot of people are like, well, if you don't think that your vote counts, well, then why don't you move to where your vote does count? And it's like, well, how does that change anything, really? But with the way that this is showing, yeah, that's pretty much what happens. People will put themselves into a hole, get other people to pay for it, and then proceed to go, well, that basically didn't do anything but just add gas to an already large tire fire.
Well, speaking of, I do want to point out one thing, and it's one of the brilliances of Donald Trump, is when he passed his tax plan, he set it up so basically a lot of the ways that Democratic states screw over the federal government and keep taxes from them actually came around to bite him in the ass. In other words, his tax overhaul is capped mortgage interest and property tax deductions, which in California was huge. Okay? Huge. And now they're getting screwed. And so people are going, you know what? I'm going to move to a state where the prices are lower and under that, property tax deduction cap. So he did a pretty good job when he passed his tax reform of helping most red states and screwing over most blue states. Just mentioning it. I mean, I'm not going to be the one to say that Trump's great. I'm going to say he is a cold calculating motherfucker, but he is succeeding in what he does. So I'll give him that. At any rate, anything else on this topic before moving on to something more interesting?
California is a test subject of America. We just throw all of our toxic and most toxic people into it, and then just hope for the best. That's my
pretty much.
Here's the thing, right? With these caravans that are coming up and all this, yeah, let them in. Just let them all into California, and then wall that state off and say, right, you wanted them, you can have them. The whole fucking lot.
I'm all for that.
Well, I mean, we already did that with Georgia whenever we were first settling.
Yeah, I'm all for that. If you want to let them in, California, it's all yours. All yours.
They're all yours. Backsies. No backsies.
No backsies. They don't get to leave. They just go in. They don't come out. I want California to be the Roach Motel of America.
It was already. Have you not seen Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas?
I missed that. Anyway.
That was a good movie.
Moving on, I'm sure you've heard the Don Lemon call for peace and sanity and for us to treat all human beings as equals and then turn around and say all white men are terrorists and need to be, you know, there needs to be a white man travel ban. Everybody's talked about that one to death. But what I wanted to point out here is the hypocrisy where Donald Trump says the GOP is the party of all Americans, whereupon he just gets slammed. Okay. It's just sad. Okay. Oops. I lost it. I don't know. But the summary is that Donald Trump calls for unity, which is what the left supposedly wants. And then the left attacks him. So we know who wants to actually bring everybody together and who wants to tear the place apart. Any thoughts on this other than, again, it's obvious?
Well, I'm just wondering, why has it taken so long for Obama to grow a pair of fucking goulians and start talking shit about Trump?
Actually, have you seen the body language on that guy when he's been doing his speeches? That man is defeated. He used to always talk with his chin up. Now, the whole time he talks with his chin down, his shoulders hunched. This is a man who is backed into a corner. Obama's body language is horrible, and he looks awful.
Yeah, I'm betting $10 a lot of it's got to do with like, I'd laugh if like, what's going through his mind is he's going back to that mean tweet that he wrote about that he read out about what's the difference between Obama and Donald Trump? Donald Trump's going to be a successful president, and then then Obama says to the camera like, well, at least I was a president. I'm betting $10. That's fucking. I'd laugh to fuck if that's what's fucking with his head right now. He's like, shit, you became president.
Dude, I could imagine the tsunami of meme and shitlords just going in and just waving wave after wave of that post just going directly to his phone and alerting him.
I think what's going on is I think Obama isn't stupid. I mean, I think he was foolish and naive, but I don't think he's stupid. And I think he truly, judging by his body language and how he's trying so desperately to get people to believe his bullshit, is that he truly realizes this is it. If we don't hold the line here, the Democrats are done. I think that's what he believes. Hillary, on the other hand, is completely delusional. That woman believes every stupid thing that comes out of her mouth. But at any rate, let's get on to Lucasfilms here, who faked over 1,000 reviews for Star Wars Resistance, the cartoon, on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm going to save you going through it, but basically here's what it turns out to be. You find thousands of freshly created accounts with no pictures and the most generic of names.
Everybody does that, though.
Yeah, but giving it 5 stars and then disappearing.
Yeah.
And they're like, somebody was tracking down the IPs and found out they all seem to come from most of them seem to come from the same area. So I don't know if they're bots or not, but I believe the audience review is definitely skewed. And somebody who said, okay, I'm going to take out every review that has no words written in it. Okay. No picture, no words, just a star rating. I'm going to take those out and edit it up. And I believe it was like in the 25% range. So,
damn.
Yeah, the critics love the show, but the audience, it appears the ones who have faces and actually can type do not like the show. Among faceless people who don't type, Lucasfilm Star Wars Resistance seems to be rather popular. And I don't know if it's actually Lucasfilms doing it. It might be just a bunch of people who work there.
It would be amusing if it was like 4chan, but they're too damn professional. They were the ones that were shit talking it, so they were the only ones that had their pictures up. So they went through and did a proper profile to make it look good. But everybody else that did like it was actually given the proper reviews, and they're all just too lazy to fix up their profiles and shit.
Yeah, like
4chan would be much more professional than this.
Ray William Johnson had a huge blowback for doing fake views on YouTube, and just to see Lucasfilm doing this for the Star Wars series, for one, that's sad considering Star Wars is already super popular. And anything that Lucasfilms brings out, pretty much, they have a following that they'll eat it up.
Oh no, just
I don't
after
know
the
if
last
anymore.
Jedi. After the last
I don't
Jedi
know.
and Solo, fucking, it's up in the air now. Like, yeah, as
Yeah.
a Star Wars fan, I'm with everybody else. I'm very dubious about the next one. I've got to see a hell of a lot more before I put my hat in the ring, and chances are I might not even watch it.
Yeah, and the problem is that people don't realize where the money is made. The money is not made on the movies. It's never made on the movies. It's made on the merchandise. It's that top 1%, that top 20% of fans buy merchandise. The top 1% buys 50% of your merchandise. 1% of your fan base makes 50% of your merchandise money. And these are guys who spend tens of thousands of dollars on shit. And those guys are the fanatic fans. Those guys are the rabid fans. Those guys are the ones who have been pissed off. And it sells. It shows. There is no sale of toys. The Lucasfilm toys rots on the shelves. There was somebody who tried to make the case that it's what killed Toys R Us.
They did well with Strange Magic too. Like, you guys remember that?
Which one?
Strange Magic, when George Lucas tried to do the film that he was trying to go away from Star Wars, and he made a film that was.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, he actually did rather well, and the rabid fans kind of,
Oh, Lucas doesn't control Lucasfilms anymore, right? He got bought out for $4 billion.
Yeah.
He lost control of everything. He doesn't own anything. He has no creative control. He went to The Last Jedi and made some comments, and they told him to get the fuck out.
See, now here's the thing with that, like Lucas fucking selling up and all that. Everyone's saying that he was an idiot and stupid for doing it. But as history has also dictated, is that, well, okay, we're not really interested in as many Star Wars movies as you initially thought. So, and also too, it's actually been a thing. You go on YouTube, there's a few toy reviewers and stuff that have been bringing this up, is that the new lot of toys since The Force Awakens, they have not been selling. They've been throwing shit out like crazy, especially all the female-centric characters. Like Rey never sells, bloody Maz Kanata never sold. Basically, you went into Toys R Us, and they were the only toys that you saw because they were the only ones that were left. So the market's also dropped out of the arse of it because this is what Disney went and did. They went, oh, well, we want your merchandising as well because we saw what you did, and we want all that lovely, lovely money. And Lucas went, yeah, I think I've kicked this fucking horse well beyond its fucking necrosis. So here you go, have the rights now that the arse has fallen out of the merchandising market because it's not as lucrative as what it used to be.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he got paid $4 billion.
But it was the timing, too. It was the timing. He literally milked that fucking thing with every.
I cannot fault Lucas at all. He cashed out and left, but god damn it, man.
Yeah, he got every single penny out of that.
Yeah.
And now it's starting to drip. He's gone, yep, Disney, you can have the dregs.
Oh, well. Anything else on the Star Wars debacle? That, by the way, I'm actually looking forward to episode 9 because I want it to crash and burn and I want to dance about on its grave. Anything else on Star Wars before moving on?
Nah.
All right, let's move on here. Kavanaugh accuser admits she fabricated allegations as a ploy for attention. Well, color me shocked.
Not only am I not surprised,
I gotta take this fall babble for a bit, please.
Yeah, not only am I not surprised, but I also saw this fucking shit coming a fucking mile off. Yeah, something just did not smell right about that woman's story right from the beginning, eh, Vash?
Yeah, I mean, and what's sad is we are in a world today where if anyone is accused of these types of things,
that's it. They're rude. They're ruined.
I mean, they are guilty until proven innocent at that point.
Fortunately, that wasn't an emergency. I'm back. Okay. Yeah, no, I'm all for guilt. I'm sorry, innocent until proven guilty, but
with this, these days, it's the opposite. It's guilty until proven innocent.
Yeah, kangaroo court of social media.
I'm beginning to think that this is where it's going to start to swing back the other way, and the problem is it's going to probably swing too far. But you know what? You dug this grave. You're going to have to lie in it.
Yep, you lit the fuse. Don't fucking blame me if the blast blows your windows out.
Yeah, so I'm glad that finally she admits it. But man, this is not going to stop there. There's not a lot of real rape victims are going to suffer from this, unfortunately, because
it says file not found.
I'm sorry, what? Oh yeah,
Okay.
it dies every once in a while. At any rate, we're going to get on to some stupid stuff here. Man lives in an airtight tent with 200 plants to see if they could generate enough oxygen for him. Answer,
And let me guess, it
nope.
didn't work?
No. No, look at this fool here. I'm going to be green and live in this tent. And 15 hours later, he's about to suffer from brain damage and has to get out.
No, it's because he locked himself in there with 150 fucking weed plants and he tried to hotbox himself and got too much.
Yeah.
But
this guy.
we need a lot more plants than that.
Oh yeah. Well, the problem is also plants have a cycle about it. Like oddly enough, they give off some carbon dioxide at night. So like people don't realize that merely a 10 foot by 10 foot by 10 foot cube is not enough. So just thought I'd mention that.
What do you think? I mean, at least he's trying something, you know.
Well, I mean, I know it's but the thing is that you could Google the answer to this.
But also, too, I mean, they've spent millions and millions of dollars on an actual proper huge biodome type dealio thingy to do this already. So, sort of.
Yeah, and the biodome ended horribly. This guy thought he could do it with a plastic tent.
Yeah. Well, the biodome, their problem was they shouldn't have let fucking Paulie Shaw near the joint, eh?
True. Bad choice. Let many were near it.
But you got to give that movie one thing. At least it's the only place you'll ever find Kylie Minogue given a deep throat and a carrot.
Yeah. There's actually
I never
a
actually
lot of
saw
bad
it.
things.
I never actually saw it.
There's a lot of bad things in that movie.
Yeah. Needless
That's
to say.
Cringe.
Needless to say, that carrot should be so lucky. Lucky. That carrot should be so lucky.
Oh. Anyway, moving on to other silly millennials. Other silly millennials. Man moves to Indian jungle to escape student debt.
Okay. I have to ask this question again for the second time today. Are we talking about Indians or are we talking about Indians curry muncher?
We're talking curry.
Okay. Not the...
Yeah, because subcontinent of India. He went to subcontinent of India and moved out into the middle of nowhere just to avoid paying his student loans. And we're only talking $20,000 here. Yeah, I don't even understand how that... I mean, that's just going to build up, and if you ever return home, you're going to have to do it. But apparently he thinks that if he just lives out there, he's...
See, India's not all that bloody good with their policing and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of the reason why a lot of the asylum seekers coming from that area of the world, we just didn't trust them as far as they could sit in policy, because the local cops wouldn't even know who the fuck they were anyway.
True.
So it could very well be a thing. This guy might very well be able to live in the jungle for ever and a day and not get harassed by the government. I mean, after all, India is a place that you're talking about, right? To get to pay their taxes, they get drag queens to harass shopkeepers.
I remember that story.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is a strange place. Well, good luck to him. Although I'm going to say this. It's only $20,000, dude. Okay? Give me 6 months. I'll get you a loan for $20,000. Then you can file bankruptcy on it. Come on. I could probably get that debt reduced down to $8,000 and get you a credit card paid off, file bankruptcy in the credit card, and you'll be able to live your life. I mean, seriously, student loans are not nearly as scary as people make them. $20,000, that's nothing. $200,000, that might be a problem. But $20,000, please.
No, you do not want this bloke to learn about that little trick, because there are umpteen quadrillion of the bastards who are all in the same boat, and if they ever tried to pay their bloody any loan off, they'd be trying to pay it off for the next 18 millennia. You really don't want to get all of these people. brought the place by going through all these little loopholes? Because that'll just cause another global financial crisis. That.
Well, yeah, if the student loan collapsed here in America, it would be a big problem. Oh, well, speaking of big problems here, police find severed head in Oakland yard. Take it to the police. Yeah, that's right. In Oakland, California, police investigators were trying to determine whether a decaying human head found in Oakland backyard belongs to a recently discovered headless corpse. Now, here's the part that kills me. They're trying to determine, as if there has been more than one decaying headless corpse to match the head to. Like, we're just not sure which headless corpse this head belongs on.
Well,
color-wise, it's kind of similar.
Yeah, that could be a thing, though. You know, like it could very well be a thing that like they found a head to another body that they haven't discovered yet, and then it gets to the funeral, and then like the body was from some Sheila, and then next thing you know, they got bloody Terry Crews's fucking face on their head. Like, how the hell did you make that mistake? She never looked like Terry Crews.
Well, we thought with a little decay there, you know, we put a little makeup on it. It looked fine.
For a starter, she's a Asian woman.
Have the diabetes guy.
It's got diabetes. Like that's why it looks it.
Diabetes.
Yeah,
it's the diabetes.
His head on like Pamela Anderson's body or something. We don't know.
I just like this quote. This one quote is great. I can say in my years of service, I've never had a human skull delivered to the police station. This is how screwed up California is, folks. This is why you should move, because there are heads winding up in like backyards, and people are going, I'm not quite, hold on, we're going to have to figure out which headless body this head goes to, because we've got so many in storage. Oh God!
We got another head. Well, now we got to play. Which one is it?
They've been like, oh, thank God, we've got another head. We were wondering because we only had 2 heads yesterday, and we got 4 bodies. What are we gonna do?
Well, we got 2 heads, 3 legs, and 2 toes. So we got to find the rest of the pieces. At this point, it's become Grand Theft Auto 5 and finding the fucking little Saints Row and finding the sex dolls, pretty much.
It's Jenga, it's MS-13 style.
No, they missed out. They missed out the perfect headline. It's California police get head.
Yeah, that would have been one. Speaking of, porn star gives college students intro to BDSM training. A porn star led a series of talks this weekend in Claremont McKenna College designed to teach students about sex and BDSM.
Hang on, isn't that rape
culture?
Culture?
Yeah, why is my college that is run by, that's paid for by state money teaching BDSM? That's what I want to know.
If they are paying for the classes, if the college students are paying for the classes, I say let these motherfuckers learn.
If the college is private 100%, I got no problem. But I believe Claremont McKenna College receives a whole lot of money from the state.
Well, what I'm saying is that to me, I believe that colleges should be ran on if you are wanting to learn something, you go to a college that is like you. For one, if you're already a part of the college, if there is enough of you that want to learn that subject, then you can bring it to the board and they can, it can get approved where, you have a teacher and everything else.
Actually,
well, I'm all for free, enterprise. If somebody's willing to pay for it, fine. Just don't pay for it with tax dollars.
So I'm not too sure this is a bad thing. I mean, all it is relating more skills to people so as they can, be more effective in employment. So single mothers, the fucking, hookers and fucking strippers. Well, why don't they diversify and get into BDSM or maybe even some fucking scat play or something like that,
Well, I do want to talk about the professor briefly, as she's got credentials here. She has also acted in such programs such as porns as Kink University, Hardcore Gangbang, Everything But, and my personal favorite, Electro Sluts. I don't know what an electroslut is. I don't want to know what an electroslut is. Do not look it up. I'm pretty sure it involves something electricity and sluts.
I'm
good.
Curious,
I am not.
I am definitely going to look into this.
I am not going to Google that. I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
Don't worry, Eldritch. I will jump on this grenade. I will look.
You can feel free. Just do not feel that you need to share.
I will do in-depth research on this subject. Don't you worry about it.
We'll expect a report next week.
As a sexual degenerate.
Speaking of everything but.
There is no need to go and research this subject because the Australians are here and we are here to help and we have already done so. Please feel free to ask after the show.
Well, speaking of everything but, hold on. Police recover stolen giant inflatable colon. There was a sigh of relief after police recovered a giant inflatable colon that is used to teach about the dangers of colon cancer. And by the picture, there's this big inflatable tunnel with the various things that you would find on the inside of a bad, unhealthy colon, and you can walk through it. And apparently, someone in Kansas City, Missouri, stole the 10-foot prop. They wanted to make it into a bounce house.
I just so wish that, like one of those things that get carried away by the wind, and then like the wind would drop it in my car, just so as I could fill out the fucking just so I could fill out the insurance form and say I got hit by some giant asshole.
But there is good news. There's great news. Hold on one sec. Let me share the great news. So many donations poured in after the theft that the coalition was able to purchase 2 replacement colons, and then they found the missing 3rd one.
Ooh.
So now they have 3 colons.
They got 3 assholes.
Where do you buy these in bulk?
My
There's
question,
a place in China.
No, whenever he said that there was going to be one that just flew off, floated away.
I want to see one get taken off by a hurricane.
I pictured like someone, like a mom with her like soccer mom and minivan and and all of a sudden here comes a giant colon that just lands on her car and it just envelops them and they just see all of the disgusting things just right outside their window, and they don't know what's going on, but it's just covered up the van.
I can see that. That would be so perfect. That would be poetic. That would be poetic.
You know what? I'd do this. I'd get the fucking giant colon thing, but I'd rig up some sort of irrigation thing. So as you walk through, you get sprayed with liquid chocolate, and you come out the other end.
I just want to make it a bounce house. I just want to make it a giant bounce house for children, just because kids wouldn't understand. They just say, "Wow, this is a weird looking bounce house," and then I would get arrested. I'm sure I would get arrested. The police would just say,
Hannity would be like, "Would you have a seat over here, please?"
Yeah. I'm sure Sean Hannity would come for me. I'm a terrorist, after all. Don Lemon said so.
It kind of does sound like some fucking euphemism for something. It's like, yeah, let the gun, you have a gun, you bounce.
Hey, kids, would you like to play in my giant inflatable colon bounce house? You hear that clicking sound? That's the handcuffs coming down on my wrists.
No, honestly, I'm not a Catholic priest. I do really have
Unless I was in California, then it'd be just fine.
Yeah, apparently California is just, I don't know. Politically, they are fucked. Normally, if you coast around there, you can find some pretty decent people, pretty awesome people to hang out with, have a beer with. But politically, yeah, they are completely bastardized and fucked. And as a collective, they are insane.
Well, not as bad as Texas, because in Texas, Democrats ask non-citizens to register to vote by sending them applications with citizenship box pre-checked. So in other words, I'll just sum this up for you. And it's not the only one. There's been a couple of other issues coming up where apparently energetic Democratic Party members have decided, let's get those non-citizens registered and voting. And they say there's no reason to worry about voter fraud. Now, this isn't a lot. This isn't a ton of people. It probably wouldn't actually change the outcome of any election. But that said, the very fact that it exists means it should be a problem. As somebody always says, there's not a lot of voter fraud. I say, okay, well, let's say there was only one murder a year. Would you make it legal? No, murder's wrong, even if it's one a year. Okay.
But what if it's to feed the God Emperor?
Well, the God Emperor is about 20,000 psychers a year. Okay, come on now.
Yeah.
At least 1,000 a day, I believe. So that's a different scale there. But if it was just one a day, that'd be fine. But that wouldn't be murder. That would be a sacrifice. And sacrifice is always fine.
I love how you didn't even fucking miss a beat on that. That was beautiful.
Yeah, no, bloody
Anyway.
the minorities voting and the undocumented and all that. That's a thing that they used to do here in the Labor Party. It's only because like the undocumented, oh, we'll look after you and all this. Give us your vote, and then yeah, screw everybody. Use the idiots as fucking cannon fodder.
I personally believe that voter fraud is much more common on a local and state level than on the federal level. But we'll see. We'll see. Because this sort of thing, it's a bad thing to come out a couple of days before. The Democratic Party over here, by the way, is just got scandal after scandal. So many that people are just throwing their hands up in the air. So, but moving on. These anti-scratching cat boots look more like feline torture devices, and you've got to see it here. Yeah, I would never put this on a cat unless I wanted to die.
No, that looks like it's a bit painful.
No, I trust you. I would get about one of these on. I would tighten that little heart-shaped thing a little bit, and then I assure you, Belle would take my face off. Okay, and then would put my face on its paw and twist the little heart thing a little. Okay. Seriously, that cat looks like I'm about to kill you, and they are clearly photoshopped on because this is not a real picture. Yeah. Oh my God. This is just the stupidest thing ever. Do you want to die? Yeah, every cat they're putting this on looks pissed.
Let me guess, it's Japan?
I have no idea where this is from. You can buy it on Amazon.
This would have to be Japan.
Oh, no, and it's from China. It is from China.
Close enough.
China,
well,
you know.
How is this going to... Okay, like... Do you realize how horrifying that's going to look whenever those cats are walking around? I want to see a video of these cats trying to walk around.
No, you know what it is. Yeah, it's going to not allow them to walk properly. They're going to do that really high step thingy they do when they got casts on. Now, this is just so they can't run away, so they don't lose their dinner.
Yeah, I mean, I could see using this a little bit for short time periods. Like if I was taking... I had a cat named Little Joe, and Little Joe would kill you. I couldn't handle Little Joe. I only had Little Joe for a couple of weeks while he was recovering. But Little Joe, my God, you had to wear... I had arm-length leather gloves that I used, and he still could injure me by biting through that thing. Not by puncturing, but by crushing. I would use these on Little Joe because Little Joe was a nightmare. Okay, he was a nightmare with the sharpest claws on the planet. If I could have gotten these things on, I would have done it on Little Joe. But that's merely because Little Joe is kind of the equivalent of a serial killer of cats. Not kills cats. He's a serial killer who's a cat. But man, that was the toughest, meanest cat I'd ever had to deal with. Whew. And he could matrix. He got out once, and he literally ran up a wall, along it, along a corner, along the other wall, and back down.
That is an impressive cat.
Oh, yeah, he was. When he got going, man, he was a demon. I regret taking him home. But, you know, he was sick and he had to recover and what's going to happen at the shelter. Anyway, last thing. Because this one I want to argue about a little bit here. I'll ask you your thoughts first. Trump eyeing executive order to end citizenship for children born in the U.S. to non-citizens. Any thoughts on this before I rant?
It closes a loophole.
Here's my position. Well, here's my position on the matter. We have a number of established legal precedences in America. One is you cannot benefit from committing a crime. All right. If you rob a bank and you give the money away to somebody else, they come and take the money from that other person. You're not allowed to just transfer the money off and go, oh, I'm going to go to jail, but the $3 million I stole, that goes to my child. Okay. So nobody else can benefit from the activities of a crime. One. Now, the way it is now, you say, okay, well, you can't change the 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment technically doesn't read anything about non-citizens. It technically should only read to normal citizens. And if you're saying he can't make an executive order to change it, well, I'm sorry, Democrats, but you allowed Obama to do that to the Second Amendment. Yes, that little thing that he did to change the laws by executive order for the Second Amendment to restrict gun use. Guess what? That sets the precedent of Trump being able to change the 14th Amendment, and you can't do jack about it. So you've given him the right to use executive order to change the Constitution, and there's a legal precedent where we're not allowed people committing crimes to benefit from him. So he has a case to make it so anybody who comes here as a illegal immigrant, their children do not get citizenship. There's a perfect legal case, and normally he wouldn't be able to pull it off, except you allowed Obama to pull it off, you bastards. Any rate, that's my thoughts on the matter.
Let's see here. So let's say, if I were to have a child,
are you a legal citizen?
Who is also, yes.
Then your child's a citizen.
Born, bred American, but right. Irish and German background.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like let's say if I were to have another U.S. citizen, then does that mean that also counts for those as well? I would like to see more of the fine print on this.
Here's where the exceptions would be. If one of the two parents is an American citizen, then the child's American citizen. Okay, this couldn't affect that. The other thing is, if you let somebody in here legally into the country, either by student visa or work visa, and they have a kid here, this would not cover that. This only covers people here who are illegally. Okay, and both parents have to be here illegally. Then the kid would not be a citizen, which admittedly only screws over, certain migrant caravans. So, but if you're an American citizen and you knock up a non-citizen, your kid is a citizen. So, as opposed to in Germany, where both parents have to be German or the kid is not a citizen.
Yeah, and I've seen some issues that has happened with a few friends of mine that were their mom or their parental figure is in Germany, and they tried to go to live there, and they had the pretty much the government telling them, no, ship her back to America.
Oh yeah, the weird thing is all those immigrants they're letting in, none of those immigrants can ever become citizens in Germany. Their children will never be citizens, and their children will never be citizens.
Yeah.
They've created a permanent slave race of people who will pay taxes until they die, but never be able to collect benefits.
I don't think that should be anything to worry about, because I do vaguely remember the Germans having a similar problem a little while back, and they seem to have sorted that one out quite well.
Yeah, I had a problem when they came over to Poland to handle that problem, but, as long as they stick to their own borders, you go with your bad selves. Okay, it's your country, do what you want.
It's only the non-citizens, you see. Like, they'll still have their German...
I'm sorry, my opinion of...
Attending to raves, and I said the rest of them are attending to raves and all the freaky shit that Germans do.
Someday, this is my vision of someday, the EU is going to collapse and Germany's just going to close all of its borders, and you're not going to see what's going on inside there for like 2 months. The only thing you're going to hear is the sound of giant meat grinders going, meow. And then when they open up the borders, they're going to go, no more migrant problem. And everybody, but would you like some sausage?
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Yeah, it's nothing. No, not even
German sausage output, it triples. I mean, serious.
No mention of the migrants. It's just we are now going to be announcing we are going to globally be reopening a range of restaurants, mostly using sausage meat. Don't ask where it came from, though.
Yeah. I mean, sorry. Anyway, that's the end of the show as far as topics are concerned. Is there anything you guys wanted to bring up?
Oh, yeah. There's it's fucking British in one of these English schools now, because like the Brits have got this Arab problem. The teacher was reading out the roll, and then he's like, Ahmed Mohammed, present. Mohammed Ahmed, present. Ahmed Salim, present. Salim Ahmed, present. Ali Sun Al-Een. And then you hear this voice from the back of the class arc up. It's like, oh, for fuck's sake, it's Alison Allen, you bastard.
Oh, God, that's awful. That's awful. Although the irony is, I passed over news from Sweden. I didn't think it was worth it, but apparently another teacher got raped by a student from a foreign land. You know, big headline thing.
Was this one a 30-year-old bloke who's supposed to be 16?
Oh, no, he was clearly 19. The picture made him look like he had a beard from hell and was probably closer to 26, but...
There's a story I read, I can't remember whether it was in America or Australia, but there's like an asylum seeker that like weaseled into a school, and he's like 30 fucking years old, and he's just trying to pass himself off as a teenager. And even the kids are like, any reason why they found out is because all the kids were like bombarding social media with photos of him going like, yeah, like he's fucking 30. What the hell's going on here? Oh, like he's not 30.
Yeah, Sweden's just screwed. Sweden is so screwed. I keep an eye on it because I'm waiting for the eventual collapse, but anyway, that pretty much sums up the show. Anything else you guys wanted to bring up before we wrap it up here? Yeah, by the way, my internet's been acting wonky, so if there was anybody in the chat, I'm sorry I missed you because I couldn't run both at the same time. I'm not quite sure what's going on. The bandwidth is going all over the place.
Forgot to check the chat.
But at any rate, it's been real and it's been fun. I guess it's been real fun. Any last words before we head out here?
Sorry, Campbell. Talk to you next week.
Yeah, sorry, Campbell. Maybe next week I'll get this figured out and get it working again. All right. Talk to you guys later.
Baby.